Another popular fast food restaurant chain in California closes stores. We'll tell you which one and why. Plus, California Democrats in the state assembly strip Republicans of their committee assignments when those Republicans dare to fight for their constituents. All that and more coming up. I'm Carl DeMaio, chairman of Reform California, and a few months ago, we brought you the story of In-N-Out Burger closing its one and only restaurant in Oakland, California. Now, In-N-Out Burger is almost as synonymous with California as sunshine and beaches, but it couldn't stick it out, couldn't bear the problems in Oakland, so it shut its doors. And that was a couple months ago. We brought you the story. Here's the headline from January. In-N-Out Burger is closing its only Oakland location due to ongoing issues with crime. Now, at the time, Democrats poo-pooed the idea that there was anything really wrong. They said, well, there's certain areas that are a little bit more, focused with crime, but it has nothing to do with the state overall. Well, whether it's crime, grime, or the skyrocketing cost of operating any sort of business in California, things are getting so bad that many businesses are doing exactly what In-N-Out Burger did. Even In-N-Out Burger, as popular as it is. I mean, remember, there's a line out the door for these locations. It couldn't make enough money to break even and to justify the risk to employees and customers of operating in a crime-ridden location. Well, now we have another popular California-based fast food restaurant that's closing not just one store, but 48 stores across the state of California. We're talking about Rubio's. Yeah, the fish taco Rubio's Mexican restaurant, by the way, which came about from their creator, Ralph Rubio, here in San Diego. Here's the headline. Rubio's closing 48 locations due to rising cost of doing business. Can we please change that headline? Rubio's closing 48 locations due to California politicians not giving a damn about the pressures and struggles that small businesses have to bear because of their lousy, out of control extremist policies. Oh, I know you probably can't fit that headline on a page, but it's the truth. California has become so toxic to any sort of business that the even popular restaurants, and I can tell you Rubio's is quite popular. Again, those world famous fish tacos. Rubio's can no longer afford to make ends meet at four dozen stores in California. The spokesperson told the media it's due to, quote, rising cost of doing business. And remember that minimum wage increase for workers just went through. More on that in a minute. And the, quote, current business climate in California. That's why they shut these stores. Now, there will be still a handful of stores left in California, but 24 of the locations are in the LA area alone, 13 in San Diego, 11 in Northern California. Quote, making the decision to close a store is never an easy one. While painful, the store closures are a necessary step in our strategic long-term plan to position Rubio's for success in the years to come. In other words, we're losing our ass at these stores, and we can't justify that to our shareholders. And it is our duty to protect both our customers, shareholders, and employees, and we can't do that by knowingly keeping open stores that are going to hemorrhage money. The minimum wage increase that California Democrats have touted as so good for workers has destroyed tens of thousands of jobs. It has hurt people. It has increased the cost of living. We told you a few weeks ago about some of the menu prices at these fast food restaurants that have skyrocketed. Remember the $5 footlong from Subway? Well, the price is now $8.50. No more a $5 footlong. No. We're going to be at $10 very shortly. By the way, that's $5 footlong was from 2019. They were still offering that promotion in 2019. $8.50 today, 5 years later. Almost double. California Democrats actually don't care about, the average worker out there. If they did, they would stop passing these job-killing bills. What's happening is we're seeing jobs eliminated through automation or, as Rubio shows, just complete shutdown. Then those communities that lose a major restaurant chain will have a vacant store. And that means prices all around will go up because less competition means higher prices. It is a sick death spiral that California Democrat politicians have put us on. Higher costs, fewer jobs, and crushing any sort of small business that's out there. I mean, Rubio's is not a small business. It's a fast and growing business, a large and growing business. But if they've got to make this tough decision, imagine what's happening to the mom and pop store. They just can't survive. California dreams are being destroyed by these bad policies. And I had to, offer these examples because if Rubio's can't make money, they got a pretty damn good menu and a pretty good product. If In-N-Out Burger, for God's sakes, can't make money in California, you can't spin or explain it away, as the liberal media so often allows politicians to do. It is because of the abject failure of our California extremist politicians. Now, instead of addressing issues like this, what are the politicians in Sacramento doing? Well, they are tearing apart our democracy. Democrats say all this stuff about Trump and Republicans being the threat to democracy. But if you take a look at what the super mega majority of Democrats are doing in the California state legislature, they are crushing minority rights, the rights of the minority party. In every single legislature, there's always been an understanding that the minority legislators have a right to speak, to offer ideas. The minority has a right to, caucus as a team and decide who's going to be on what committee. They're not going to get a majority of seats on each committee because they are in the minority. That's understood. That's how a democracy works. Whichever side has a majority gets to chair the committees if they want. But it's always been an unspoken tenet of democracy that each individual legislator gets a right to present their idea, make a motion, be heard, and then we vote them down. And that's, just the way it works. And if someone makes an idea or proposes an idea that is so popular that even the majority party has to kind of understand, wow, boy, this is a good idea. We might want to vote for this. A good democracy works when there's openness, transparency, and participation. That's not happening in the California state legislature. Yesterday, we brought you the story of the Democrats cutting off the mic of Assemblymember Bill Asaley when he made a motion to bring a bill up to allow the Border Patrol, with cooperation from California law enforcement, to deport people who've engaged in felonies, child predators against children. Democrats, once Bill Asaley made the motion, cut off his microphone, didn't allow him to proceed forward, silenced him. They silenced the voice of the minority member because they didn't like what he was proposing. Sure, they could vote it down, but if they voted it down in a transparent way, if he was actually able to make his motion in a full way that people could understand what he was proposing, then Democrats would be put on the hot seat for voting against a common sense idea. I mean, who would want child predators to be protected and remain in this country if they're here illegally? Nobody would, except Democrat politicians serving in the state legislature. So Assaley then went to Twitter and called out Democrats for what they did. Well, the Democrats didn't like being held accountable in the public square. They thought, wow, we shut off his mic. We showed him, oh, wait, he went to social media and outed us, exposed what we did. So for that transgression, for speaking up, for leading, for making the motion, for criticizing the Democrats on social media in public when the liberal media refuses to do it because they are absolute sycophants, Bill Assaley was stripped of his committee assignment on the Judiciary Committee. The Republican leader, James Gallagher, was not consulted, was given no respect whatsoever. The Democrat Speaker of the Assembly just simply said, I get to decide who gets to be on the committees now. So let's review the bidding here. Let's really understand what this means. The Democrats get to select which Republicans they want to square off with in these committees. I'm a budget expert, for example. I'm running for state assembly. And when I get up there, I'm going to weigh in heavily on the things that I am expert in and passionate about. But the speaker might say, well, DeMaio knows way too much about the state budget, so we can't put him on the budget committee. Even if the Republican caucus says, hey, Carl, we all want you on the budget committee. Yeah, we only have a couple seats. We're in the minority, but at least you get to be the one, Johnny on the spot, making the points that need to be made because you know the budget inside and out. The speaker will say no. Set aside expertise. What about fight? A backbone. The Democrat speaker basically is saying, if you fight against us, I'm going to remove the fighters from committees and replace those fighters with rhino, go along, get along, sycophants. Oh, and believe me, there are a number of Republicans that fit that bill, sadly. When we allow the Democrats to select which Republicans they get to square off with, we've lost any sort of semblance of a democracy. We don't have two parties at that point. The minority voice is not heard. Your voice is not heard. Those constituents have been robbed of a representative. It's an abuse of power. It's a threat to our democracy. But the media in California, they don't want to cover it. Well, today, after speaking up multiple times against this, the Republican leader, James Gallagher, to his credit, sources tell me, orchestrated a boycott of the Judiciary Committee of all Republicans. Well, all Republicans being the three that are on there. There's 11 Democrats, 3 Republicans. And so the Republicans said, fine, if you're not going to let us select who gets to serve on this committee, none of us will show up. We won't give you the veneer of legitimacy or actually being a representative democracy. No, you guys are thugs. You're dictators. So wear the scarlet letter. Make it real apparent that we're not running a real legislature here. The minority voice has been silenced in California, and the liberal media has allowed that to happen. And it will continue to happen until we rise up. Now, at Reform California, we sent out our notification this morning on email to all of our supporters saying, hey, this is what's happened. Let's fight back. Encourage the Republicans to boycott the Judiciary Committee and help us raise money so that we can show that when Democrats do bad things, they're only filling our coffers to fight back. That's what Trump did last week. In the wake of his sham guilty verdict, he raised a bunch of money. People said, enough. Abuse of power, we're fighting back. Same can happen here in California. That's what Reform California is doing. We are leading the fight. We will not allow this to happen. When I get up there in the legislature, I certainly won't be quiet. And by getting more aggressive, we can once again rebalance our political system in California and actually have two parties again. Sure, they're going to have a majority for a while, but you can't break a majority, particularly a mega majority, a supermajority, unless you have a functioning voice of opposition. And that's what Reform California is working to give you. Please join us. Go onto the website, reformcalifornia.org. That's reformcalifornia.org. Chip in a contribution and sign up so that when these things happen, I can get you the alert out into your inbox. All you have to do is go to the bottom of the page at reformcalifornia.org, first name, last name, email, phone, zip code, boom, you're on the list, and you'll get our voter guide in the November election when your ballot arrives. The plain English voter guide that gives you a description of all the ballot measures so you know what you're voting on, that the politicians can't use the false and misleading titles to trick you, and you know which are our endorsed candidates for everything from the statewide races all the way down to water board, school board, city council. Sign up at reformcalifornia.org, chip in a contribution. Also, continue to like and subscribe to this channel so we can get you the news that the liberal media won't report. Every day at 5 o'clock, a new episode, Monday through Friday. Until next time, Carl DeMaio, Chairman of Reform California. Help us break through the censorship of the liberal media. Like this video, subscribe to this channel, and smash that notification button so you can stay up to date on all the developments in California news and politics. Also, please visit the website, reformcalifornia.org, for ongoing news coverage and to join one of our campaigns in the fight to take back our state. If you can, please sign up as a volunteer or chip in a contribution. This episode of Reform California with Carl DeMaio, paid for by Carl DeMaio for State Assembly 2024.